Hello.
We are live.
Good live. Fuck it.
Welcome to Ghost 4 to 13's second episode. We're so happy for people that will join with us today. We've got a fantastic guest lined up. Andy, would you care to talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, it's a guy I love talking to. I've worked with him a few times. He does an amazing job, and I just want to show the rest of the world some of the stuff this guy's done. And without further ado, let's take a look.
Yeah, we're going to go and take a look at our guest here. Let's do it.
What? Oh shit! I didn't know you could dance. Oh shit! He even did a fucking split.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Well, without further ado, I guess we can bring our guest in. Let's welcome Robert Bravo.
Hey there, everyone. How you doing today?
What's
Hey, how's it going?
Here's Johnny.
It's been a while since I saw that edit of the reel, and I forgot about that little stinger I put in with Horton. That cracked me up.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad you could be on here to chat with us. Seeing that I've done a few things with you, and the first thing that we did together when I met you was The Dead Place.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I met Travis as well. It was the first movie I ever done, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. Obviously, never had got makeup or special effects or anything like that, but we did have Michael Pickle, the director, right around last week, and had a great interview with him. So I guess just looking back at that, what are some of your memories from that movie, and even the scene that me and you did together in my death scene?
Well, your death scene was fun because it was after principal photography, and we did that at my house.
Yeah.
And we had also just done a really cool sequence with the character playing your wife. So it was fun because when I'm on someone else's property, especially someone else's house, I feel a different kind of, I don't want to break this, or I don't want to, be disrespectful to someone else's space. So I think I was probably stressed out because I didn't want to totally nuke my home, but also I don't have to worry about, disrespecting someone else's spot. So I think we sprayed like 3 gallons of blood out of your neck, if I remember right. We made a big
Oh my God. Yeah, it was crazy because if you remember, the scene after that is when my girlfriend was in the shower.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to take a shower after I got my part done, but obviously I couldn't. So I had to sit there for a couple of hours in that
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
blood-soaked stuff. Yeah, but I mean, totally worth it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was fun. It's really weird because in the real world we shot that movie half a decade ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. It was quite a while ago. And time erases things. So there's so much that I had forgotten. And it was really weird to get thrown back into that world after so much time had passed and remember all these little, behind the scenes stories. Cause you start thinking about that time when you're, meeting people in the school location, for example, who I've gone to become close friends with. And you're, oh yeah, that is how we met, isn't it? And lots of weird little ones like that. That one, it was a challenge because we got pressed so hard for time, and we had all these wonderful visions from like, oh, we're gonna do this awesome kill here, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, and time was never our friend. So we kept having to go a little bit smaller on this, a little bit smaller on this, and like finally we got to Jeremy's kill at the school, and there was a concern that we weren't going to get to do it because we were running out of time. And that was the one where I put my foot down and said, all right, I'm going to get this on him in 15 minutes. It's a 3-hour makeup. We're going to get it on him. We're going to shoot something. We're going to, he had put a lot of himself into this project, and I didn't want him doing all that and not getting his 10 minutes of fame. And somehow that ended up being one of the coolest scenes in the movie, I think. And I had David, the guy who plays Art the Clown, come up to me and said, "Oh, that was great. You gotta, show Damien how to do that." And that was just, career is over. I had hit my plateau. That was a compliment of compliments because we had connected Jeremy to a 3-gallon fire extinguisher and ran it to his neck and just shot out blood for a childish and irresponsible amount of time while David's there dancing around and being David. So it was a hard experience. I was actually a producer on that, which, I tried to keep that quasi quiet because I was, people treat producers and above the line people different than they treat below the line people, which is, producer, director, and then the other crew parts like makeup and stuff. And I wanted to be more of the friend than someone else. And I was more just, pre-production stuff. I helped with some of the SAG paperwork and that kind of thing.
Fantastic. That's really cool.
Yeah. But it was an adventure for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I loved about the experience there was learning that you're actually hooking up a fire extinguisher as a blood delivery system.
Oh, yeah.
That was so awesome. One thing I wanted to say, and actually thank you, is because I was working on a small project myself, and I remember posting something online about squibs, and you were the first person to reach out to me to educate me on the difference between a squib and a blood delivery system. I'm happy to say this was the result. It's not as cool as your work, but
Oh shit! A verbal. Put it there.
What'd you end up doing for it? Did you do the little pneumatic thing or?
I ended up using the pump and spray that you use for lawn stuff.
Yeah.
It learned a lot too about the difference between using stage blood versus fake blood and how the pressure and the thickness of the blood really will make a difference with that. Overall.
Oh yeah. Well, and at any given time, my kit has 7 different fake bloods in it because you need different colors. Like in the room that I'm in right now, which we'll talk about later. This is a really dark room and there's blue tones. So I would probably add a lot more yellow to the fake blood to counter that. There's a movie, I think you guys have both seen, called Craving that we did. It was another one with Horton. And we just didn't think about it. But at some point we decided to put red emergency lights, someone had shut off the power and they had generator lights, like backup lights come on. And all of the blood disappeared. So you'd see the creature walk through and he'd be soaked head to toe, and then he'd pass into the red lights, and all the blood would just go. So then, after that, I started color correcting. So now, at any given time, I have slightly more red blood, slightly thicker blood, slightly thinner bloods, but you really want a very thin, almost watery for a lot of those spray gags so that you can really get a cool effect. And then lots of backlighting so you can see all the little
Little details, the splatters.
Yeah.
The icky.
all the grossness.
Totally. Well, one question that Andy and I had based on this is, when did you realize that special effects and creating horror-related things were kind of a passion for you?
I started, I grew up in the entertainment industry, but I started working in film as a producer. And we made, I think it probably cost like $8,000, something like that. A little one location, 3-character drama thriller called Trap. And then we went on to make a couple of other no-budget movies. We were making features for like $30,000, which sounds like a lot of money until you try to make a movie. And one day we had a really fun horror script hit my desk, and we couldn't afford to hire someone. So I kind of learned what we needed for that. I mean, I had played with special effects, but I was more like a dumb kid playing with, like latex and stuff like that. But we wanted to make this movie, couldn't afford to hire someone. And so I learned what we needed to do and just kind of did it. And we ended up making some cool stuff. And I realized I really, really enjoyed doing special effects. And I kind of hated producing. And that was 20 years ago. Or it was a long time. 22 years ago, I want to say. Gone on to do, I think I have like 85 credits on my IMDb now. Maybe even more than that, because I think a bunch of the ones that are in pre-production just went on there, but I don't know. They don't count yet. It's not real until you feed it. I've been doing this for most of my adult life, and this is home. It's a really cool feeling to be able to draw a picture and then see that dragon or that monster that you drew walk around in the real world. And so I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
So you said you were, you obviously have like a lot of credits and everything. Has there ever been a time where you're kind of just working with somebody that you haven't maybe worked with before, where you're just like, man, they're so good and it's so surreal. I can't believe I'm actually doing this for a living.
Oh yeah. I mean, most people would give everything to do what we get paid to do. I'm always very, very aware of the fact that what we do is magical, and I've gotten to work with quite a few people who've been spectacular, both known actors and just that guy who you happen to bump into, and you're like, oh, you're fucking great, you're super talented, and not just in front of the screen people, but also I've had the pleasure of working with tons and tons of full crews over the years, and incredible cameramen and camera ladies, and I have a lot of respect actually for beauty makeup artists. I've worked with a ton of really talented artists, beauty, that like Stefania. I'm gonna utterly fail at saying her last name, but Meg Wilbert, just lots and lots of artists. The thing is, with special effects, I can do something kind of janky and say, that's my interpretation of a zombie. If someone's beauty makeup is wonky, we all know, hey, that person looks... same with like camera and lighting and all that. Like people really like underestimate how much magic goes into making a really good movie. It's no one person. So yeah, I've worked with tons and tons of really talented folks.
Cool. That's awesome. That's great. To build on that and go back to Dead Place, I mean, what was it like? I know that you touched on working with David Howard Thornton, but what was that experience like to you? Was it really just a fun experience?
It was. Thankfully, I've done enough stuff. I don't really get starstruck. I did, obviously know his work. Oh yeah, you could see that thing. There's a couple of things. First and foremost, David is a champ because that thing was not fun to wear. We didn't have access to an oven, so usually if you're going to make a foam latex appliance, you whip up these chemicals and you bake them, and you end up with a relatively light, very high quality prosthetic. We couldn't get that because it was expensive and chemicals and this, that, the other. So we ended up making his appliance. It's skinned in Platzel Zero silicone, which is a very high quality material. And then it's backfilled with foam. And every trick in the book I can come up with, that thing still weighed about 3.5 pounds. So he had this 3.5 pound chunk of rubber just glued to his chin. And he never complained, never, struggled or anything. And I know, because I'll never put anything on an actor that I haven't put on me. So I wore that thing, not the same one, but I made a version of it for myself, tried it, saw what it felt like. It was not fun. So he was a warrior. He really kicked ass. But as far as the actual on-set experience, it was great. We spent the entire time singing show tunes and doing Joker impersonations from the Batman TV show, the cartoon. It was like hanging out with another nerdy theater kid. So it was a ton of fun. He had a great attitude the entire time. He was super pleasant because he had a lot of his fans there, and he made time to chat and hang out with everyone and be very respectful. And it was a good show. And as a person, he was just great to work with. I mean, he obviously has some experience doing graphic horror and all that stuff from his work. But not everyone knows how to sit in a chair, if that makes sense. You have to sit in this uncomfortable chair for 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes and have, some jerk named Robert poking you with brushes and painting and sticking awful glues on you and, all this stuff. And not everyone is really built for it. But he definitely, he took it. He did a great job. And I hope our paths get to cross again, hopefully under more comfortable circumstances, because I'd love to do something a little bit more simplistic on him, where he can kind of perform a little bit more, because he was hindered a bit by having this big thing. Like his focus had to be on, I don't want to rip this thing off my face, not I want to be absolutely out of my mind. It was great. Also, I realize whenever I do podcasts just how much I babble, so you are welcome to cut me off if you ever need to.
No,
all right, well, that's all we got for tonight, folks.
Yeah, stop it, Robert. You're talking too much in this interview. No,
yeah. We got our first question in the chat. Let's welcome Johnny and Tom. They're watching as well. The question is from Montavious Parker. He wants to know if you could have been on any movie set from the 80s or 90s, what film would that have been?
That's good. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for The Thing.
Ooh,
but
thanks.
I also know how awful that production was for the special effects artist. The guy ended up in the hospital because he was so
realize that.
Oh, if you look into the special effects in it, man, what they did was incredible. But I'm going through it right now. I'm on pre-production on 3 features. And I'm averaging between 12 and 18-hour work days in 100-degree. With the door closed, my lab's about 105 degrees right now. So people underestimate, it's rough. So the artist in me would really love to have been on The Thing, but the person who knows how hard it must have been, I don't know if I would have. I think the honest to God one is probably Aliens.
Yeah.
I would love to have just seen all of that. And there's so much that they figured out on that movie.
One of my favorites was using latex condoms just for the details of the characters. It's amazing.
Tons of menthol cellulose. And then the original Queen Alien was made out of trash bags.
Really? Out of trash bags?
Yeah. Not the one that's in the movie. They're proof of concept, but you can see them working stuff out. So it was
But
really
still, that shiny black texture, and That would make sense.
Yeah.
So
But
wait,
I got to go down to Legacy to Stan Winston Studio and do some stuff there a while back, and I got to see a bunch of those old photos. It was very
Cool, man.
That being said, that does bring me to a question. Are there any materials that are easier to work with than others, or materials that you like or hate more than others? I've tried working with liquid latex, and boy, does that stuff stink and get everything.
Yeah, I think the first one is understanding every material has a time and a place. And the more you get to work on budgeted stuff, the more spoiled you get, and you start to like, well, I want to use the fancy, silicones, or I want to use this, or I want to use that. And I actually do use a lot. I use slip cast latex a lot, or a balloon latex, which is a little different than, like the liquid latex we get at Party City. But I do, because I tend to do lower budget stuff, but I try to bring bigger budget set pieces. So, I do a lot of foam fabricated creature suits. And for example, like, you guys weren't on it, the Craving Monster. So that's made out of slip cast latex, which is like liquid latex with a slightly different formula. It still has just as much ammonia, so it still smells the same. But like each one of these things,
Ammonia.
yeah, that's what you're smelling.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. But all of these things have pros and cons. So like that, for example, it's very, very stiff. It's cheap, which means that, if you have the right conversation with your DP and your camera team and you figure out, okay, we're going to light it this way. We're going to show it from this angle. We're going to put goop on it so that we can really make it shine. We can do all these things. You can get all your shots, and you can spend, a tenth of the budget, but it's restrictive. On the other hand, if you're going to use like a Platsil 10 or a Platsil 00, which again, going back to before, is what we made David's thing out of, not using a giant 4-pound thing of it, but a thin thing that goes on your face, you can have these incredibly photorealistic makeups that look beautiful and take light and feel like real skin, and they're incredible. That's my favorite material to work in, but it's also, like $80 a couple for like a couple of ounces. It's very stupid expensive. So everything has pros and cons.
Sure. Of course.
With that being said, a least favorite material would be spirit gum, the stuff that you use when you're young or you glue on facial hair with. I've never had to work with that without getting absolutely covered in something awful, like sticky and miserable. And my favorite material is probably either Pros-Aid, because I can do appliances and Pros-Aid transfers and glue and so many things. I like multi-use products that I can, because I do so much low budget stuff and I try to do big with it. I want to be able to buy a 5-gallon bucket of one thing and do 20 different projects with it. Like make a prosthetic, glue something, make paint. You can make packs out of mixing Pros-Aid with acrylic paint and do things like that. So I like multitask products whenever I can.
Love it. It's like stretching the dollar and stretching the use.
You got to, because the thing about indie films is, and I actually, I just had a conversation with someone recently. Someone told me it's impossible to make good special effects in low budget horror films, and I don't think that's true at all, but you have to make smart decisions. Like you're not going to be able to spend $4,000 on, a 6-foot tall bodysuit worth of silicone, but you can spend $800 on closed cell upholstery foam and L200 closed cell or open cell foams, and spray 90 glues from the hardware store. I mean, if you go back to the 80s and you see how The Thing and all those movies were made, those movies were like, someone went down to Home Depot and just bought a bunch of shit and figured it out. Now we have all these fancy things, but listen to the stories from the 80s during the heyday of special effects. And those guys were just wizards. They were just, guys who or kids who'd go out and like, oh, that thing that I just saw on the wall looked really weird. I'm going to recreate that. I was doing work and I saw the expanding foam that we, used to seal a door. It looked like a blob. I'm going to turn that into a movie set piece.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's part of the magic in itself, is just kind of creating it, figuring it out, and seeing what works, seeing
Yeah.
what sticks.
I
Which-
watched an interview with a special effects artist. I suck because I can't remember his name. Older looking gentleman, great big white beard. But he was a special effects artist on Species. You remember the old, it was like a 90s creature film? It was more Geiger. So the guy who made the Xenomorph and the aliens is like kind of a sex monster.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they made a lot of those creatures that are in that, like the pulsing cocoons and stuff. They were made out of trash bags. They were made out of the plastic tarps and such. They would take two of those on a soldering pen and make the shapes that they wanted. So they'd end up with like a balloon, and they'd fill it up with goop with menthol cellulose and slime and pigments and stuff, and just kind of wiggle it around. And then they'd stick air compressors in there and make it pulse.
Kind of,
He charged millions of dollars, and it was probably $50 worth of stuff.
Wow,
And
that's so
it's
cool.
like sushi. The genius isn't in the material you use; it's the artist who's doing it. So I always love it when we hear these stories about these guys who turn nothing into the world and
simple
you know.
things into crazy things. I mean, like going back to like The Thing. I mean, wasn't the special effects director at the time like 19 or something like that? Young guy, up and coming.
There were, I mean, he was a young guy up and coming. I don't think he was 19. Well, would that have been Alec? There was a big team on it, so I don't know if it was the director who was that young, but there was definitely a couple of young cats on it. But that's a great example of the creativity that goes into it. The guy who sticks his arm into the stomach mouth and gets his arm ripped off.
Yeah.
That was a double amputee wearing fake arms.
Yeah, just
Yeah. But in real life, that guy was really an amputee. So he just stuck his stubs in there and ripped off their little things. Yeah.
That's
Ugh.
I never even knew myself. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how you go on to make things like this.
Oh,
I know that guy.
oh man.
It was funny because that took like each time we did it, I think we did it twice, maybe 3 times, I don't know, but it took like an hour each time to apply.
Well,
It's just so much going into it.
that was always so vexing. I don't remember if you guys ever heard the behind the scenes story, but all those appliances were supposed to be silicone, and there was a lot that went on in that show because we got there. It was supposed to be 40s the entire time we were there, and day one we arrived, it was 7 degrees. And actually, were you there when I did the blood scene to myself?
Yeah, this is going to kind of lead me into my next question, actually.
Oh, do you want to ask it first, and then we can blend them together?
Yeah, so I want to pivot a little bit because we've been talking about effects and everything.
Yeah.
As far as like acting goes, you do have some acting credits that I've seen. Is there like a specific scene or movie or character that you're most proud of as an actor?
There is, but never got released. There was a film I did called Agora, and I was actually like a co-lead in it. The character I played had a terminal illness, and I die. I have a hematoba, I think it's called. I had gallons of blood pour out of my nose, and I connect the fire extinguisher to my nose, and it bounced in and then came out. It was awful.
Oh, geez.
No, it sucked.
You actually put it up through your. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a rough day, but basically they cast me because they knew I do terrible things to myself that I wouldn't do to any other actor. But then I came back as a demon wearing the main character's friend's body. So like I die about halfway through, and then it turns into a haunted house movie, and he keeps seeing me in more fucked up kind of American Werewolf in London, where I'm more,
Progressively decayed and gross.
yeah, nightmare fuel. But it was great because I was playing a character who was dying and drugged out of his mind the whole movie on like morphine and such. So if I forgot my line, I could just trail off. And I don't remember what I'm supposed to do. So, my bad acting actually looked like it was on purpose.
Hey, it's,
But
Happy
direct-
thing that happens. Happy circumstances.
yeah, the director actually passed away before the movie got released, and
Hear that.
I don't think anyone ever followed up on it. So it's a memory and a really cool experience, but unfortunately, it's one of those that's kind of lost in the ether. And then just story wise, the one on Hard Place is always going to be real cool. Cool being the opportune word. The actor who was supposed to get shot. We had a scene that was supposed to be shot outside of this old movie theater, and it was 11 degrees. And the actor who was supposed to do it didn't show, or something happened. I don't remember exactly. And I knew this was going to suck. And again, same thing. It was one of those, I don't want to do this to someone else. So if we're going to do this, we're going to do it to me. So I connected the fire extinguisher to my own chest, and I shot 3 or 4 gallons of blood. I got shot, 3 or 4 gallons of blood all over myself, 11 degrees, and the fake blood, which is like 70% soap, started freezing, which shouldn't be physically possible. And I couldn't feel these 3 fingers for like the next 4 days on set. So I was doing makeups like this. But it was definitely a go. Yeah, it was, all these were great experiences. I don't generally enjoy being in front of the camera. I have a hard time not looking down the barrel. I like, stop looking at the camera. I'm not.
I don't mean to. It's there.
Yeah. Robert, you're looking at the camera. No, I'm not. So.
Great.
So speaking of that, I do remember seeing you in action. I think maybe we should look at that one more time.
Hey, is everything all right here?
Coca Cabana, Daddy-O.
What's going on? What the hell happened, Candy? What happened? Tell me!
How the hell was he still alive?
Yeah, that was after 3 gallons of blood came out of me.
Yeah, I remember you sitting there in that chair, and you were, I mean, it was just so cold. I was holding the boom that night without gloves on. My hands were just froze to the rod.
Yeah.
And
I'm
remember you
pretty
was
sure I
"It's
froze.
cold out here."
I'm pretty sure I froze to the table, if I remember right. Because basically, the fire extinguisher, the first gag, which wasn't in that. In fact, the thing that's really cruel about this entire story, that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
The scene where I did all that, the 3 gallons of blood came out of me and yada yada, that's not in the movie, because that scene worked well, but we didn't get everything we needed. So we actually ended up reshooting that entire sequence here at the cult venue in downtown Los Angeles. And so there no longer was a reason to have a guy sitting outside of a venue or of a theater to get shot. So narratively, there was no way to keep the sequence where I died.
Plus, you were wearing a T-shirt too, so that probably didn't help.
Yeah, that didn't help. But yeah, I've got 3 gallons of frozen blood going down my lap. And then we're like, oh, we needed one more sequence to break it up. Robert, come run out here and get shot again. So after sitting in the blood for, an hour or whatever it is, and finally, I love the director. He's one of my best friends, but also he's focusing on the story. So he's not thinking about the fact that, there's someone sitting in a puddle of blood or a puddle of liquid at 11-degree weather. So then finally they're like, okay, yeah, go out there and get shot again. So then I come out and I waddle out holding the gun like I'm out of it, get shot again, fall into an actual pile of snow. So now I've been sitting in wet poop and slime and blood for an hour and a half. And now I'm sitting in the same puddle of blood in wet clothes on a pillow of snow for another hour.
Oh,
And
man.
I can attest just from the blood I had for a couple hours on the dead place. That was in sunny California.
Yeah.
And it was starting to get cold and it was sticking to me. I can't even imagine in 0-degree weather how you were feeling in that T-shirt.
It was not a fun day. I mean, they were doing everything they could to make things go as quick as they could, and it was, but that was the whole reason why I did it, because like everyone is there was a ton of troopers, like there was a ton of cast members. So I'll do it. This is gonna suck. And if you get pneumonia, I'm gonna own that. So I did it basically to make sure no one else did.
It's quite the experience. Yeah.
It was a rough day. It was a rough day.
It was our first day too. It's like,
Well,
I mean, fuck, start us off a little better than this, you know?
the thing that was trippy, I had never, because we had all these like best laid plans, like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Gears started failing because none of this had shot in the cold before. So like the thing that the assistant camera, the AC, uses to focus, there'd be a delay. So he would do it, 3 or 4 seconds would pass, and then the camera would zoom or go out of focus. So like all of it, my batteries for my pneumatic squibs, they were running out of, because you have these old D-cell batteries that go inside this thing and you remote control trigger it to shoot blood out. Those batteries would die in like 3 minutes. So we'd have to change a battery literally between takes and go out and do all this stuff. It was a mission that none of us kind of coped for, because we're looking at weather projections in the 40s and the 50s. And then got there and day one, they're like, yeah, unscheduled blizzard.
It's like,
Yeah, I
great.
was having a lot of problem with the lav mics too, because everything was all staticky. So
Yeah,
moving around trying to figure out what to do here, because it was my first time doing sound.
Well, then also just lav mics and fabric are tough. It's a great tool, but it is tough. That's just part of the nature of it. I think, sounds great. You and Steve both were sound on it, and you guys both kicked ass. I think it's hilarious because, we had a traditionally professional sound guy. I'm not saying you guys aren't professional, but you're not sound techs by trade. We had a traditionally professional sound tech doing the sequence in Los Angeles. And honestly, I think your sound is better than a lot of those scenes.
All right.
Well, shout out to Andy and Steve Morris.
There we go. Best in the business.
You guys kicked ass.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, much respect to it.
Well, that actually brings me to. Oh, sorry. What were we going to say, Robert?
Real quick, I trailed off, but that lizard-looking face of Andy's that you showed, the whole story with that was somewhere between day one of arriving and I think day 3 when we did the reptile makeups, all the prosthetics disappeared. So thankfully, I had a mold, and I was molding and making those prosthetics out of slipcast latex, which is basically like Halloween store latex. Because we didn't have any, all of the properly made good prosthetics, they were in a box, and we don't know if someone threw them away or if they got damaged. At one point, it rained in the location, and a puddle of rain came into where we were housing and where special effects was. So we think maybe it got damaged and thrown away. But we were making those prosthetics on the day as people were getting prosthetics put on. So I'd be filling a mold, peeling it out of something else, putting it on one person, hoping that other mold would be cured in time. That was one of those where we're not going to fail, but this isn't going to be easy. But that's one of those that makes me sad because I know what I wanted to have. I know the makeups that I envisioned.
Yeah.
I still think you did a phenomenal job though. Everybody that I showed, after the movie came out was just like, God dang, you look like a Mortal Kombat character. It's like, kind of.
The thing that I think is important to remember, and especially with indie sets, because, it's Murphy's Law is a very real thing. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
No one knows what's not there but you. So if something isn't going the way it's supposed to go, poker face that shit. Just stone face it. Come up with a solution, because if you're not going to get all these actors back, and you'll never get this scenario again. So if you were supposed to have a blood spray go off, but someone forgot to bring the machine or something happened, there's 100,000 ways to get that shot. It's not going to be the shot that you envisioned. It's not going to be the shot that you planned for, but there's something that you can do to tell the story that's on that script or that's in that page. So, it's it's never easy, and it's really, really vexing when you can't do what you envisioned or what was talked about or whatever, but that doesn't give you an excuse to buckle down and shut down. And then, all these people who flied from all over the country don't get to shoot their scene or don't get to be in the movie. So if something doesn't go right, you find a solution, you make it look as awesome as you can, and hopefully people enjoy themselves. I'm really proud of what we did pull off. It may not be what I wanted it to be.
Right.
But I watched that movie for fun and I still enjoy it. So, I think we did some right.
Yeah, as an actor, I really enjoyed it. I mean, you had a lot of hats you were doing with, between like the plant people and putting makeup on people and getting effects ready and everything. So yeah, it's a very respectable showing by you for sure. Just being there every day, watching what you were doing. So we all appreciate it a lot.
The other thing that I'll never forget on that, and this is, part of, we had done an Indiegogo feature on that. And up until this point, I had only really ever worked with creature act. When I say creature actors, I mean people who are professional creature actors. Most of those guys are 90 pounds and 7 foot tall, and I 80 pounds soaking wet little stick figure guys. And I got there on the day, and we had people built like people doing all of our creatures. So I had 6 creature suits, and I think the only one who actually fit into them was what was her name? The woman who played Felicia's creature body. Oh God.
Was it Jennifer?
It might have been Jennifer. That was definitely one to remember. Because it's really difficult to, you're making suits and you're guessing, because you end up making suits before you know who's going to go in them. You have no idea what size to make anything, and you're like, okay, well, we'll try to make it a little bit bigger. Now I just make everything huge, and I seam down. We had that happen a couple of times on the last movie that I had worked on with that group of people. So it's, again, it's if things go wrong, and you got to try to just figure out how to keep going.
That's great.
Yeah, we kind of had like a running joke going on there because Angel Bradford was playing a lot of the plant creatures, and she's just a little old thing, and I think I killed her about 6 times.
Oh, I'm sure we had like, it cracks me up going back and thinking about how tiny some of those people are. But it was great though, because it made, when you have someone who's like 4 foot tall playing the one monster, it makes the other guy look 8 foot tall in comparison. You guys had a couple of scenes where you were like gigantic, especially when you watch it, on the big screen. You look like a big hulking 8 foot tall monster compared to some of these other people.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. I love every second of all that stuff.
That does bring me to a question, because I luckily did not have an opportunity to be on set on Hard Place. So you guys did a great job, but I heard a lot about the temperatures and conditions there. Clearly, that obviously affected the audio work, the camera work. How was it working with prosthetics and makeup under those cold environments?
I like to think it was probably nicer for a lot of the guys, because usually the biggest thing about wearing this stuff is it gets so goddamn hot. So, when you throw a bunch of rubber on someone's face, hopefully it insulated them a little bit. I don't know if that's really true. Andy could probably speak to it more. I mean, it was really just a matter of it's harder to use your fingers when it's really cold, So like some of that real fine tuning, stuff was a little bit more difficult. But I think, it's really just a survive it kind of thing. We're going to make the best thing. And I have a big rule, because I believe that one person can be the difference between a good day and a bad day for the set or for everyone. And I don't always succeed at this mission. I mean, I think both of you guys have seen me buckle a little bit over the years that we've known each other, but I try really hard to be warm and fuzzy and be like, oh yeah, everything's fucking great. We're having the time of our lives.
Even if it's not, it is.
Look in the corner and cry, but you're not going to see it. So I think it's really important, no matter what's going on, to try, like, I'll be honest with you, like, this fucking sucks, but I'll be honest with you, this fucking sucks in a, like, camaraderie way, hopefully more than a we're dying way. So I'll still try to, like, smile big and have fun and like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fucking awesome. We're gonna get you out there. I'm gonna put goop in your eyeballs, and you're gonna scream and roar. It's gonna be the coolest scene in the movie. We're gonna have an amazing time. And I'll try to be everyone's hype man and also just everyone's little bit of good juju. Because if you're having a tough day and you come into me and I hate you so much, you're going to carry that on into the production. You're going to be like, well, if they're not having fun, why should I have fun? This must suck. But even if it's cold, even if it's uncomfortable, if I'm in there having fun and trying to be good energy and hopefully succeeding at that mission, maybe you're going to have a little bit more fun. And if you're having a little bit more fun, maybe you're going to bring that energy into the production, be just a little bit more big than you would have been otherwise. So that's my goal. I try to be, a little bit of a beacon. I definitely am capable of showing the cracks in my armor. But I try to be, the onset therapist and just be good energy when and where I can.
Yeah.
That being said, I am far from perfect.
I'm sure Andy can agree, but in my experience with you, my friend, you've always been nice. You've always been professional. You've always been very welcoming. And you really you care about your craft.
Well, I have a very, very simple rule at all times, and that's I'm going to treat you the way I want you to treat me. I can't get upset at you for being disrespectful to me if I treat you like crap. If I go through and I'm constantly trying to make sure you feel safe and make sure you feel respected, I know no matter what, at least one person treated you right. And that's not to say that other people don't treat people right on set, but
Sure.
I know no matter what, if I treated you right, then one person showed you the respect you deserve. At least you had that. So that's the first thing. But also, it's just it's how it should be. I can't ask you to come in and be courteous to me in my department if I'm rude or if I'm nasty or whatever. So I think on set, in hospitals they call it bedside manner, but I think that is key. And I think it's incredibly, incredibly important. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us forget it. It's very, very easy for you to go from being a person to a canvas to your special effects artist because, we're painting you and poking you and stuff. And that's why I tend to get annoying because I'll constantly, are you doing all right? And it's not so much because I think you're weak or fragile. It's because I need to remind myself I'm working on a person who has feelings and has, whatever. If I'm doing that too hard, it's vexing. And so I try to make sure that I'm showing everyone what they deserve. And the truth is 70% of my work to this day still comes from actor referrals. So,
Something's working.
Yeah, showing that courtesy goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I do have a weird question to ask, and please feel free to correct it.
Yeah.
I heard rumors that there was a story about how on one production, I'm not even sure which one it was, you were traveling with your props. You booked a hotel. You didn't put the Do Not Disturb sign on, and so a maid walked in and somehow came across all these various body parts in your room and freaked out. Is that true? And if not, have you ever had an experience like that before?
I am going to see if I can find the pictures. Yes. That is very true. It was... Oh God, I want to say it was called Fragment. I think the movie's name changed like 3 or 4 times after production. I know it finally got released, but I don't think I ever got to see. But yes, this is true. And we shot this movie in this little itty bitty, city by Riverside. It's not Riverside Practical, but it's far enough from Los Angeles proper that like the weird stuff that people see, like. I'm walking around with this guy in downtown. People know it's probably for a movie. We were far enough out into the ether that like no one knew what the hell was going on. And this poor lady. And they had me in the scariest, tweaker, not in a bad way. I'm not speaking ill of this set. They made sure that we were housed and all that. But this little Motel 6-y, scary motel. And, we were still having to do work just out of necessity. Stuff wasn't done. If it was going to get done, we were going to have to do it there. So I had turned the bathroom of that place into a lab. And we had done a life casting session there, a full body life casting session. And I was actually making these fake body parts and fake heads on set. And so there was half of a woman in the bathroom.
Oh my god.
And then
You're
just
gonna get us kicked off on our second episode here.
body parts and stuff all over the place. And yeah, this maid came in, walked in, and the way this motel was shaped, you walk in, you turn your head, and you're in the bathroom. So the first thing she must have seen when she went in there is all the body parts and shit. And thankfully,
That's awesome.
you know, like she had enough time to look around and see molds and stuff. And I know they knew that there was movie people going on. So I think that, you know, no cops were called, thankfully. Enough in the past.
That's
Yeah.
good. That would have been an awkward conversation.
I've had it. After this, I'll tell you a story about getting pulled over with a trunk full of chopped up people.
Please.
Fake people.
Not real people.
Yeah. Almighty algorithms. But yeah, that was an adventure. That was
I don't mean to cut you off, but should we do like a disclaimer that we didn't know anything about this stuff before you talked about it, just in case?
I saw during the reel you popped up this is all fake, honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's all fun. It's definitely. I think the lady probably had a good scare, but I mean, after you look at these things for 20 seconds, you can tell they're fake. It's not responsible for the potential dead bodies. Nice.
I'm gonna protect
I'm going to be able to find. The downside to what I do for a living is I take continuity photos, so there's like a billion images on my phone. I don't think I'm going to be able to find the photos from this show.
Well, if you do happen to find it, let us know. We can share it and tag it with this.
Oh yeah, I can definitely send it to you afterwards. I just I don't see any. I don't see them in here right now. And where I am, the phone signal isn't amazing. Because I have it connected to the computer, so you might have to wait till after this is over, and I'll send you some images of what that looks like. Yeah, this poor lady must have had quite the scare. The other story I was saying, getting pulled over, I had worked an 18-hour day and I was covered in fake movie blood, and I forgot what I looked like, and I went to a gas station and gave the person covered in fake blood. I gave the lady my card, and she must have tapped the alarm underneath the table. 2 minutes after, and not in California. I think we were in Minneapolis or something. It was a horror movie shot off, not local. And 2 minutes after I pull away, I hear, it's my very good police siren intro. I pull over.
Pretty good for special artist.
Yeah, I'm not an audio guy. I pull over, and the officer doesn't even get to my window. He just taps on the trunk, and I'm not thinking about what he's about to see. I open the trunk, and inside there is 3 very well-made, chopped up, fake dead people, a bunch of fake weapons, and an eyes wide shut, like masquerade creepy mask, like something you'd wear at a whatever. And both officers, very quickly pull out their thing.
Oh, geez.
But I'm an idiot, and I just realized what they saw, but I don't have time to think intelligently. So the words that come out of my mouth are, "It's okay, officer, I'm a professional."
Oh boy.
Professional
That probably didn't help.
professional killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story gets way less silly after that. I tell the one guy, go send your partner back there. Look, he'll very quickly see that they're fake. Once you feel safe, I'll give you my business card. And then they started taking pictures with everything because to them, like it's movies, it's celebrity, blah, blah, blah. And I tell that story on legitimately every set ever. And I always wonder who probably tells that more, me or that cop? Because can you imagine what that must have been like for that dude. Who, like, you know, it's
Hell,
Tuesday.
that might have been brought up like in a future training session. You know, you never know.
Yeah. It's just another day. He's just doing whatever. He's a routine pullover. He sees this guy covered in blood with a truck full of, like, you know, nightmare fuel. I always crack up at that. But
First day on the job, he's like, what do I do here?
I didn't sign up for this. Yeah.
I quit. Yeah, but you know, that's kind of the fun thing about this is the side stories. And I'm always amazed how many people just don't care. You know, I've walked
like
down Hollywood Boulevard with like fake bodies draped over my arms, and, you know, or guys in full makeup. Because whenever you have an actor who's like in real gnarly casualty simulation who needs to go do something, you send someone with them just so that there's not like a big problem. So I've gone with people like that. No one even acknowledges the guy who half his face is missing and he's walking around. You know, one person might take a photo with him, and
They're like, just a regular day.
it's not supposed to be normal.
So I guess I kind of wanted to get into next is your venture you have on with The Cult.
Yeah.
KUT. How did that like come to fruition? I remember talking to you about it when we were filming. I was just starting out.
Yeah.
And like what kind of services do you guys offer there? And like what events do you hold?
Yeah, so this is the let's see if you can see behind. Oh yeah, that's better. You can show them stuff. That is the Cult LA venue in downtown Los Angeles. We leased it February of 2024. And in a past life, it was called the Independent. It was before it was just a movie theater, and now it's a venue of all sorts. And honestly, it just sort of cascaded. It just sort of happened because originally I wasn't going to be as involved as I am, you know, but someone I care about got the building, and it ended up being a lot more work than we realized. And, you know, I was always going to be part of it, but I wasn't going to be such a on the, you know, boots on the ground person. Yeah, we got the building, and the goal is every time someone comes here, it's a little bit cooler than it was before. So like we just installed new lights, and we just completely redid the top. We're actually doing weddings now, which is crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's a 8,000 square foot venue made up of a lobby, a kitchenette, the theater itself, and a rooftop lounge. We have a 30-foot screen, Electro Voice sound system, yeah. So we've done everything from events with Disney. We did the first couple episodes of the last Star Wars show with the Disney people. We do music and concerts. We had Redbone here a while back, who, if you've seen like the Guardians of the Galaxy, they did that you know, the 70s song. And stand-up comedy, really whatever people want it to be. And it's been a hell of a journey. We're really excited, and the goal is just to give a fun, safe place for people to have their adventures. But yeah, it's cool. We actually have an event here tomorrow. I've got a walkthrough this evening, which is why I'm actually here. I'm so glad we got that website up. We literally got that website up yesterday. So it was janky, and the one that I made before all this. So yeah, and the website is thecultla.com. So yeah, that's been probably the biggest continual. Whenever I'm not on set, I'm working on this place, and we're trying to make it as awesome as we can. And then it's really cool just to watch it grow and turn into something bigger than it was. And it's weird because I've gotten to the point now where we can control almost all of this place off of just the cell phone. So, you know, like I have the lights on here.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Like all, you know, everything you got going on there. I really want to visit that when, you know, if I come out there for one of those Dead Place showings,
Yeah.
stop by there and stuff and hang out for a while. And You know, if I ever get to the point where there's a woman desperate enough to marry me, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me try to do the other.
Well, sometimes Andy and I like to have a game for our guests. Andy, do you care to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we do a thing called Stump the Guest.
Okay.
And I feel like you might be able to possibly get this. I'm going to give you a 2-person leeway here, either way.
Okay.
So my question for you is going to be, in the dead place, on the official IMDb roster, how many ghosts are number credited?
Oh God.
Oh, he's going to have to think back. Yeah.
It was a shit ton. Is shit ton an acceptable answer?
Pretty good answer, I will say.
I'm gonna say 40.
Sorry, what was that? What was it?
I'm gonna go 40. I'm gonna go 43.
Wrong answer.
What was it? Oh,
From what we can tell, it seems to be about 18, 19 if you count the little dead girl. But for all we know, there could have been so much more. There was a lot of different guests that were involved with the ghost behind the scenes. But we know that you personally were there with every single one. So maybe.
you know what? I bet you it's because of duplicates. Because like I know I made more than 40 ghosts, but I bet you it's because the same ghost appears at the school and in the backyard and things like that.
Yeah, we went down the entire roster multiple times on IMDb, and
Yeah.
it's definitely 18 number credited. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
But
No,
obviously, and I was telling him too, like Robert did so many ghosts, he's not going to remember how many he did.
That's
Yeah.
true. You know what? We're going to give you that one.
Well, I bet you I'm double counting the same guys because I was just there'd be like 9-hour sessions where I would, and we were banging through these things, like shh, go, shh, go, shh, because they'd have to shoot a scene with like 12 people 10 minutes after I arrived to set. So I'd be like, all right, I can get the first 5 out to you in 30 minutes. Go, go, go.
And it was the first thing I had ever done, so I'm sitting there like getting my makeup done, and I'm just like, this is freaking cool. Like, I'm getting,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm feeling bad too because I know, I don't know if you did or not, but I know a lot of these guys paid to be there, and
yeah.
so my thing also through all of it is like, I hope they feel like they're getting something out of it because I know they're there for the experience and they want to meet David and all that, but also, I remember feeling really bad because we had these people who pay. That's the thing. Like some of these movies, they do Indiegogo movies. Or you donate, and one of the perks is you get to be in the movie. And for a lot of those cats, like they paid for a death scene. And it was breaking my heart because we didn't have the money, we didn't have the time to do a lot of the scenes that we had talked about. So like, Montavious, he did one earlier. I think we wanted to do something bigger and cooler and show like blood spray out of him. But end of the day, I think we strapped a knife to his back and did it as a reveal. So David was holding a knife. He goes like that and then drops the knife that he has in his hand. And Montavious already has a knife in his back and he turns and it's there, And my big fear with all that is always like, I hope they got there. I hope they feel like it was worth it. I hope they feel like they got it. And the same with a lot of the ghosts. Some of the ghosts, I think, were friends of the production who were involved. But I was like, God, I hope they feel respected. And like that it was enough. So, it got to where like, originally I'd wanted prosthetics on you all, and there was just no world where, so it all became airbrushed. Like we kind of just broke up the skin texture and did this weird muddly thing and threw airbrushed veins on you. And I just being more terrified. Like I hope they feel that they got enough for being there. And I hope everyone did.
That's really respectful. That means that your care and concern is for everybody involved, and that's always really great to hear.
No. Well, you're all so incredibly the movie doesn't happen without everyone. Like, every single person is an integral part of the formula that makes that thing what it is. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Was there any? Oh, sorry, go on, Andy.
No, go ahead. I was gonna probably ask the same thing.
Basically, is there any other projects or anything upcoming you'd like to share or talk about?
Yeah, I just realized we haven't talked about that yet. We got into so many other conversations. I'm on 3 feature films right now. One of them I did not get a clearance to talk about yet. I signed NDAs all over the place, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So I have to have permission to talk about shows. I got permission to talk about 2 of them. One of them is called The Dead Man's Creek, and I actually was given a proper synopsis so I can do the stuff. And it's after Hector serves 2 years in prison, he reluctantly agrees to go with Logan and the rest of his friends to explore the legend of Dead Man's Creek for the weekend. And that one films in New York in September. Starts August 25th. So East Coast project. And it's kind of, as always, I'm a little nervous about, giving away spoilers. I'll say to Andy, it's got some familiar faces in it. Because I know we've worked with Felissa, and she's announced, so I don't feel bad saying anything. And that's kind of slashery with a little bit of a creature vibe to it, kind of Jason. It's a slasher, but it's a big, some scary stuff. And she is playing a really, really cool entity or thing. And she gets to get her hands dirty, which is always fun. I love working with her. I've worked with her probably a dozen times over the last 10 years, and she's one of my favorites, Felissa Rose. And then it's the guys who did Stream. I don't think David's in this, but Stream with David after they did Terrifier. And then I'm doing another film called The Fabulous Mr. Stilts. And this one I have to be a little bit more careful what I say on, but it's a creature feature, and I am making 9 different creature suits for this film. That one's filming in May, and that's got some fucking mind-blowing gags in it. Like, there's not as much blood and gratuity as there is in Dead Man's Creek. Dead Man's Creek it's funny because, like, one of these has significantly more effects, but I'm less scared of it because it's stuff I do all the time. So, like, I can almost shut my brain down and handle the stuff in this. Like, it can make it really, really cool, but it's stuff that I'm programmed to do, like blood and gore and viscera and all that. That's Robert's, like, go-to. Like, I can give people nightmares there. This other one, like, this director is really, really fun. The stuff he writes is hardcore, like, really smart. Like, it's like, I want to say stuff, but I can't. But it's body horror stuff that you have not seen before. That's forced me to be very creative. And I'm incredibly excited about it. And the other thing that's really cool about this one is both these features have me super, super excited. And I get excited whenever I get to travel for work, but also it's scary because, like, I can't just drive across town and go pick up more supplies. So I'm actually leaving for the East Coast the end of August, and I'll be there through October. I'm just going to drive the 4 hours from New York to Maine. The second film, Mr. Smith, is filming in Maine. And both of these have gorgeous, gorgeous locations, incredible cast, incredible crew. But the second one, like, some of the set pieces in this script are bonkers. So I think it's going to be a really fun one. And unfortunately, the big challenge with these is, like, they're both low budget films, and I'm really digging deep, finding ways to make some of these things happen on both shows. But we're doing some really, really special stuff on both of them, and I think that people will remember both of these projects. Like, it's always fun when you get to do something and, like, people do the kill count videos and the YouTube videos and stuff like that.
I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting when you get a script and you're like, yeah, this one's gonna make an impact, and people are gonna, like, talk about this. But some of these, because both of these have hardcore kills and real fun creature stuff, and So it's going to be the rest of this month and next month is going to be really, really brutal in the way of pre-production. You know, I'm pulling 18-hour days in a 105-degree room.
Jeez.
And you know, we're trying to do around, between both of them, I'm trying to do about $100,000 worth of work for not that number. I gotta throw no one under the bus and say what we are spending, because the goal is, when you watch this movie, you'll think we spent $100,000 on both of these movies. So you know, it's a lot. It's hard. It's demanding, but there's nowhere else I would rather be than, you know, helping storytellers tell their stories. And when I can boost production value and give the impossible to a group of artists who may not have been able to do it otherwise, it's kind of why I'm here and why I do this. So really, really excited, grateful to be part of these features. There's a third one that I feel equally excited about, but unfortunately that one didn't give me the thumbs up yet. I'm sure they would have if they had more time. But I sent him the message that, hey, I'm going to be on a show. Can I talk about it? And I just didn't get it in time. With NDAs, you never know how nasty someone's going to be if you break it. So, and rules are rules. It's the same thing. Like, if you ask me, hey, Robert, would you respect me on this set? I have an obligation to respect you, and I have that same obligation to respect productions as a whole. So,
Yeah, that's great.
but yeah, there's some really, really cool projects. I cannot wait to talk about one scene in The Fabulous Mr. Stilts. Probably don't get to talk about that till next year. And there's a lot of really fucked up stuff that happens in Dead Man's Creek. And both of these scripts are super fun for different reasons. This is a little bit more Dead Man's Creaky, you know? Faces being
Thanks for bringing your friend with us, or with you, I should say.
Yeah. Oh, really? Look at the eyeball. I'm so happy with how it came out. It matched. I got this actor. This is for another movie that I shot last month? This month. The beginning of, last month, June. And I got photos of this dude. I was like, this dude's eyes are fucking gnarly. In a good way. Like, he's really just. So you got a bunch of photos of this guy's eyes and made them. So I don't want to do no spoilers because, you know, again, that guy didn't give me permission to talk about it. So I don't want to.
We respect that. Maybe that would be for another episode, another time.
Yeah, but I'm really happy with how that came out. A lot of fun. So there's lots of really cool graphic nightmare fuel coming your way, and lots of cool stories. And I hope to share them with everyone as we get there.
That's great. Well, we unfortunately have to wrap it up at some point here because we're coming power mark, but we've been having a great time with you. That's all the questions I have. Andy, do you have any follow-up final questions for Robert today?
I do not, but I just want to say, you know, it's an honor and pleasure working with you. I've, you know, gotten to know you really well over the last couple of years and consider you, you know, a good friend, and looking forward to seeing you again in the future and see what else we're going to do together. And when I make it out to LA again, I'll hit you up and we can go hang out at the Cult.
Absolutely. There is one real quick thing I need to acknowledge.
Oh, sure.
I somehow
Sorry,
think
we don't want you to feel like we're rushing you off or anything. But
No. I just have to take a moment to shout out Andy and 90210 marathons during times. Oh, he's giving me the look. I thought we were supposed to. I'm sorry.
That's all the time we got, folks.
I was on location, and there was like nothing playing at this place. We were shooting at a location, and we had limited signal at this place, and so downtime just became let's hang out, eat crappy food, and watch 90210. And I don't know how it ended up being so fucking awesome. we're watching mindless slop. We're just hanging out with a cool dude, watching silly TV. It was a really good time. So that was a hard show. So shout outs to you for keeping me sane on a rough one. And I consider you a good friend, and I hope I get to tell stories with you.
Appreciate that, man. You too.
Yeah. Here's to the next one, man. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
honestly,
Absolutely.
thank you for coming with us today, Robert. It's been such a pleasure and a treat. And people be on the lookout for Robert because clearly he's got a lot of great projects coming this way. And we hope to speak to him about these future projects as we go forward. But again, thank you for everything today, Robert. And we hope you have a fantastic day.
That means a lot. You guys too. I'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of our show. Andy and Travis and I, thank you so much for joining us today. I guess until the next one. Anything you'd like to say, Andy, to sign off?
No, next Wednesday we got actor Kevin Thompson coming on, so be on the lookout for that, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
That sounds like a plan. Thank you guys, and until next time.